Hi guys, this is DinnerattheDowney, and today we're going to make some noodles. I have put 4 cups of flour in here, and I'm just going to set this aside because I'm going to work on my eggs. Now, somehow somebody ate some of my eggs this week. We won't mention any names, but we sent him to the store to replace the eggs. So I'm going to break them into this small bowl here. Check out my eggs, make sure that I don't have any pieces of the shell in there. Remove them if I do. I don't want eggs that have blood or, nasty stuff in it. And then when it's good, I'll throw them in here. So let's get going. And the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want to have to redo my flour. I don't know about you, but I watch my pennies and make sure that I have enough to go through the week. And that's why I got started making all of my own stuff. So, oops, now we have an eggshell. Good example. Now there's an eggshell in here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'm going to wet my finger. And it should come right to my wet finger, should. Ta-da! There it is. So I'm going to throw it in there. Make sure that I don't have anything else in there. I'm going to break 8 eggs. Well, 7 because we're missing one. And then we will whisk them. And then I will add them to my flour. So, real easy recipe, and I'm gonna make noodles like the noodles that you make for chicken noodles, and then I'm gonna make some pasta noodles like spaghetti, more the thickness of linguine because I'm not real swift at cutting the real thin ones. But once you have spaghetti that way, you will never go back. I'm telling you, store-bought spaghetti becomes yuck. Nothing against it if that's what your preference is, but once you've had noodles made this way for your spaghetti, oh my gosh, you will just never go back. So here's my 7th egg, praying for no shell. Oh, got a little piece of shell, so I'm going to wet my finger. And I'm going to stick my finger in there. Come here. Oh, well, it's not coming. There it is. Oh. And where did I put it? Right in there. Silly me. All right. Well, just proves that accidents can happen. Okay. There. Okay. We are ready. Now I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 4 cups of flour and 8 eggs, and then I'm going to whisk them together. So I'm going to turn the video off and come back in a few minutes. I started to say seconds, but it'll probably take him a little bit longer to get back. So I had to go across town to a bigger warehouse, wholesale, because if you purchase your eggs by a larger quantity, if you've got a place to put them, that's your best bet. The price of eggs and flour and sugar have just gone sky high recently, and if you can purchase in larger quantities, that's what you should do. We have a big stand-up freezer, and I buy my flour 25-pound bags, and then I divide them into small bags like that. Double bag them, put the date on them, throw them in the freezer, and then I can pull out what I need when I need it and not worry about never having enough flour. Do the same with sugar. I don't put the sugar in the freezer because then it would turn into a block of stone. But you can cut your egg cartons in half and put them down in your crisper, and they'll last quite a bit. I think there's 30 in the thing of eggs that my husband purchases, and we go through quite a few. So I make pies and eggs, noodles quite often. So anyway, I'm going to turn it off, and we'll be back in a jiffy. Okay, so I have my 8 eggs and I've whisked them. Kind of look like this. To my 4 cups of flour, throw that in there. I'm going to add about a tablespoon. And to prove that that's about a tablespoon, I learned to use it in my hand, measure my hand, or my grandmother. Oops, where is it at? Ta-da! Right there, on a tablespoon. So anyway, that's what I'm going to put in. I'm going to mix it up with my hands a little bit there. Make a well in the center. And then I'm going to pour in all of my eggs. And this fork that I used to whisk my eggs, I'm going to use to stir my flour until I can't stir it anymore, and then I'm going to finish it by hand. Just realized I still have my ring on, so I'm going to take that off real quick so that I don't get it all gooey. But anyway, it's going to look like this. And I'm just going to start working it in. Eventually I'm going to have a ball. And then we're going to let that rest a little bit before we start rolling the noodles. And I'm only going to make 2 kinds today. I'll finish this up and then we'll come back because it gets a little messy, see? Okay, so I've been working on this for a couple of minutes and I've got a ball going. And you're going to think that it's too dry, but it's not. In fact, you'll probably want to add a little flour to it later on, but right now we're just going to get it into a ball. A very hard dough ball. See, I incorporated it all. Minus a few little crumbs that keep wanting to escape. And I'm going to cut it in half. Actually, cut it in 4ths. So I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to shape it into a ball. And that's approximately 1 cup of flour and 2 eggs in the one ball. Now I'm going to throw it back into my pan because when I have gotten all of my balls in the pan, then I'm going to throw my hand towel over it and I'm going to let it rest for anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, but you want it to rest because that's what makes your dough roll out smoothly and look and taste good. So we're going to just give it some rest. So I got my 4 balls in there. I'm going to take my hand towel that I have been already using. I'm just going to cover them up. I'm going to set them there. I'm going to clean up my counter and then we'll be back in just a little bit. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes, so I'm going to come back and I'm going to check on my dough balls. And before we thought they were a little dry, now they're a little sticky, but that's what we want. So we're going to keep those other ones covered up, push them out of the way. So I'm going to lightly dust my workspace and my dough ball. because I don't want to have a great big huge thing to work with. I'm just going to cut it in half. I'm going to keep track because I only want to make 2 whole balls of each noodle that I'm making today. So dust your pen and just begin working it out. Start with the regular noodles, so it'll be kind of a medium thickness. I don't like real thick noodles, but I don't like thin noodles either. So if you're a thin noodle person, you want to take them thicker than I do. Pretty dry. There's a thick spot. The pastor's wife, a couple of weeks ago now, Jill, asked me a question about, or it was actually a comment, but she said that when she made her noodles that the dough kept shrinking. And I said, well, that's what it's supposed to do. So as you are rolling it out, you'll roll it out to a size like this, and then it'll shrink, and that's what you want. It's gonna look really smooth and pretty, if a noodle can be pretty. You just keep flipping it over and working it. So I'm pretty close to done with this quarter ball. It's dry. It's flexible, it's pretty, if you can call pretty. See that? It's not streaked or anything like that. It looks nice. So that's one I'm going to cut. I want to be careful with the knife this time because the last time I was demonstrating, I actually cut myself, which was not nice. So cut it in about 3-inch widths. That's a good size for a noodle that's going to go into chicken noodles or beef noodles. And you can layer them like so and cut them. And they should be somewhat dry enough that it won't matter if they're laying on top of each other like that, because they'll come apart, and that's what you want. To look cute like that. On the stick. You want to be careful not to cut yourself because, boy buddy, that has hurt. Mine aren't real thick in terms of width. Maybe a little more than 1/4 of an inch, or about 1/4 of an inch. There's those, and then this whatever extra little piece on the end, I'm just going to cut it up. And the flour that's left on your counter, if you want to mix that in just a little bit, maybe a little bit more, and push them aside. And now we have the other half of the ball to do, and then one more ball, and that will make about a quart bag. And that's what I want, is a quart bag of noodles. And I'm actually gonna make some of them tonight, but then the other half of them I'm gonna stick in the freezer for another night. So this is what they look like, nice and pretty, somewhat dry but not completely dry. I'm going to stick them, when I'm finished here, put them in the dehydrator. So it won't take them very long because they're almost dry now. Okay, so I'm done rolling out the noodles. I've got quite a few here, and I have got my one of my trays for my dehydrator. So I put the one with no, so that the flour can't get through, because I like the toasted flour with my noodles. So I'm just gonna lay them on here, and it really doesn't matter how thick you make them on there, because they're dry enough already that they're not going to stick. And I'm going to use all that flour. Here, flour. And I'm going to put it in there, and it'll toast it somewhat. And then I'll use that in as kind of a thickener. When I throw in my noodles, I'll throw in that flour. Alright, so there we go. Got my tray all ready. Now I'm going to put it on the lowest setting, and I think it's 35. Let me double check for you. Yep, 35. So I'm going to put it on 35 and leave it probably no more than 20 minutes or a half an hour, but we'll check it in about 20 minutes, and then I'll let you know if they're done or not, and then I'll let you look at them. So I'm going to go put this on, and then we'll come back and we'll roll out our noodles for spaghetti, linguine, whatever you want to call it. Okay, I went ahead and started rolling this out because it takes twice as much energy and strength to roll out your pasta noodles. So you do not want any damp spots on there, so you want to keep your flour on there, and it will be a drier, you can hear it, it's definitely drier. That's why you want to leave them to last, because you want them to set just a little bit longer than you would your other noodles. And you're going to work these until they're as thin as you can get them. Almost till you could see them. I need to get a non-noisy rolling pin, so you can almost see through that. I'm going to take it just a little bit thinner. I can tell when it's thin enough for me when I can see the flecks of my counter through it, but you'll have to figure out what's thin enough for you. Side's good. This side needs a little more. Okay, now that's quite a bit thinner. It's at least half again wider than the noodles that we made before. Oh, they were only about yay big. So it's the same size dough. We cut one ball. Here, this one ball we cut in half, and that's what the half is what this is. So we just roll it out. Now, I don't like real long noodles. I know people make them like this long. I break them. If I buy them from the store, I break them and stick them in the pot. So why would I want to make real big long noodles? Doesn't make sense. So I'm going to make them, I don't know, let's make these about 5-6 inches. We'll just cut this right in half. So that might be about 7 inches. I've got 2. I'm going to turn it sideways, and I'm going to cut them lengthways. Let's start on this side. Is this long? And I don't particularly care if they're all even and pretty. I just want them small, okay? And that's what our goal is. So we're just going to cut slowly, so you don't cut yourself, because that's what I did. As thin as you can get them. And it's kind of a short one, but you can see how thin that is. You do not want to roll these up like we did the other ones. We want to leave them as flat as we can. And yeah, it's going to take a while to cut these. But it's so worth it. Oh my gosh. It's just unbelievable how good these noodles are compared to store-bought noodles. You won't ever want to go back, and you'll just constantly be making your noodles. So let me cut a couple more of these, and then I will show you again what they look like. This one's a really good one. Good length, about 5-6 inches long. It's about 1/8 wide. It's a good noodle. If you can make them a little thinner than that, that's great. If you can make them thick, if they want them thicker, that's fine too. Just whatever you like as a family. There's a really cute one. See, he's so cute. Oh, I get so excited about my noodles. I'll cut a few more, and then I'll show you what they look like laying on the counter. So I just make lines, and I will keep cutting them until I've got all of both balls. So about 2 cups of flour, and then I will show you again what they look like, how many I made. Actually, that will feed probably 4 people, 4 adults. Now kids, if we eat less, but 4 adults. My husband and I'll make 1 ball, which is 1 cup, 2 eggs, for a supper, and we will eat our supper as much as we want on it, and then we both have a little bit left over for lunch the next day. So it's a good amount. So when my son and his wife come over, we have lots left over because they're not real big eaters, but we are. So if that kind of gives you an idea, 2 balls or 2 cups of flour will definitely be plenty for a family. So let me see if I can get this so you can see it. See, not real big, and I just don't want them to touch, and I just want to lay them out so they'll dry. And I'm going to leave these on the counter to dry. I'm not going to put them in the dehydrator. So, and I suppose you could, I'll do a couple here and we'll see what it looks like, but I don't normally cut them double over, because then you have, like this one comes out really fat because he was on the end, but I could cut him in half lengthwise, maybe. Let's see what happens here. I usually just do them single layered. But yeah, the bottom one got a little bit thicker, and that's why I cut them single layers, you know, because I can control how thick they are. And anyway, so I'll continue on, and then and when I've got them all cut, I will come back and show you what they look like.